Hello. My name is JC Brown, and I'm a graduate student studying Library and Information Science at Wayne State University. Today I'd like to share with you Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. A mysterious island, an abandoned orphanage, a strange collection of very curious photographs. It all awaits to be discovered in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, an unforgettable novel that mixes fiction and photography in a thrilling reading experience. As our story opens, a horrific family tragedy sets 16-year-old Jacob journeying to a remote island off the coast of Wales, where he discovers the crumbling ruins of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. As Jacob explores its abandoned bedrooms and hallways, it becomes clear that the children were more than just peculiar. They may have been dangerous. They may have been quarantined on a deserted island for good reason. And somehow, impossible though it seems, they may still be alive. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children doesn't fit neatly into a single genre, which gives the book a wide appeal for a variety of readers with different tastes. Genres this book could be classified in: historical fiction, fantasy, mystery, and science fiction. Topics and subjects explored: orphanages, grandparents, death and grieving, time travel, adventure, coming of age, Wales, England, and of course, World War II. I had just come to accept that my life would be ordinary when extraordinary things began to happen. The first of these came as a terrible shock, and like anything that changes you forever, split my life into halves, before and after. Like many of the extraordinary things to come, it involved my grandfather, Abraham Portman. Growing up, Grandpa Portman was the most fascinating person I knew. He had lived in an orphanage, fought in wars, crossed oceans by steamship and deserts on horseback, performed in circuses, knew everything about guns and self-defense and surviving in the wilderness, and spoke at least 3 languages that weren't English. It all seemed unfathomably exotic to a kid who'd never left Florida, and I begged him to regale me with stories whenever I saw him. He always obliged, telling them like secrets that could be entrusted only to me. When I was 6, I decided that my only chance of having a life half as exciting as Grandpa Portman's was to become an explorer. He encouraged me by spending afternoons at my side hunched over maps of the world, plotting imaginary expeditions with trails of red pushpins and telling me about fantastic places I would discover one day. At home, I made my ambitions known by parading around with a cardboard tube held to my eye, shouting, "Land ho!" and "Prepare a landing party!" until my parents shooed me outside. I thought they wondered that my grandfather would infect me with some incurable dreaminess from which I'd never recover, that these fantasies were somehow inoculating me against more practical ambitions. So one day my mother sat me down and explained that I couldn't become an explorer because everything in the world had already been discovered. I'd been born in the wrong century, and I felt cheated. Fog closed around us like a blindfold. When the captain announced that we were nearly there, at first I thought he was kidding. All I could see from the ferry's rolling deck was an endless curtain of gray. I clutched the rail and stared into the green waves, contemplating the fish, who might soon be enjoying my breakfast, while my father stood shivering beside me in shirt sleeves. It was colder and wetter than I'd known June could be. I hoped for his sake and mine that the grueling 36 hours we braved to get this far, 3 airplanes, 2 layovers, shift napping in grubby train stations, and now this interminable gut-churning ferry ride, would pay off. My father shouted, "Look!" and I raised my head to see a towering mountain of rock emerge from the blank canvas before us. It was my grandfather's island, looming and bleak, folded in mist, guarded by a million screeching birds. It looked like some ancient fortress constructed by giants. As I gazed up at its sheer cliffs, tops disappearing in a reef of ghostly clouds, the idea that this was a magical place didn't seem so ridiculous. My thoughts and comments on this book. Due to reading mixed reviews of this book, I was somewhat hesitant to pick it up. However, upon reading it, I found myself really getting into the story and wanting to know more about Grandpa Portman's life. My rating, 4 out of 5 stars. I think the mixed reviews could be due to the fact that this book falls into multiple genres, which likely surprises and possibly disappoints readers when they expect to be reading a certain type of novel and elements of a science fiction, fantasy, or mystery novel pop up. Both the print and ebook versions include a series of strange and antique photographs that add to the book's creepiness as well as illustrate parts of the story being told. Archetypes portrayed. The main character Jacob Portman aligns with the archetype innocent embarking on a journey, as well as the seeker. Other archetypes in the story include the caregiver, the orphan, the hero, and of course the villain. I recommend Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children for grade 8 and up, but I should add that this book could certainly entertain adult readers as well, which is why it would be a great addition to any public library. Being interested in the World War II history theme included in this book, I selected 3 read-alikes for you. The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne, and Soldier X by Don Wolfson. If you like this book, it can likely be found at your local library. However, if they don't own it and you happen to live in the great state of Michigan, you can borrow it from another library. How might you ask? Simple. By visiting Michigan eLibrary at mel.org, MEL.org, where you can simultaneously search hundreds of libraries all at one time. Pretty awesome, I know. All you need is your library card on hand. If you run into trouble, you can always ask the librarian for assistance. In fact, many libraries will offer to do this for you.